This video I want to share my feedback on GSP and that Hendricks fight. And based on the videos, I didn't actually see the fight, but I just saw a few highlights, and I saw some interviews with GSP and also Hendricks, and I read some comments on some of these videos that people wrote. I just want to provide feedback based on that. I mean, normally I don't pay attention to this whole thing because, you know, the whole UFC, the MMA thing, I don't follow it. I don't pay money towards it because I don't support it, and I speak heavily against it, and I don't want to support it in any way. And I don't want to cloud my mind with that type of negativity. I feel that my energy should be put into something more positive. But, you know, one of the people that I'm training, Todai Ryan, mentioned it to me about basically how GSP got so pretty much, he got destroyed so much in that cage during that fight that he lost his memory and he couldn't even remember the fight, and his face looked, it was just destroyed, you know. And he mentioned that he wanted to retire, but they wouldn't even let him retire. And that kind of got me to want to look into it, because I feel that, you know, what's going on is just something very relevant to what I'm trying to educate the public on, and what's going on, and how this is not the real way of the martial arts, and this is not the positive route, and this is not what we should be accepting as people that are supposed to be representing the martial arts. I just want to provide my initial feedback on just basically what I saw. I don't really know too much. I don't know much about the GSP or the UFC and any of that stuff. I don't follow it. But even though I don't follow it, I see this guy everywhere. I mean, he's all over the Century magazines. He's all over Target and, you know, promoting some of those exercise equipment. He's all over the YouTube and the side panel bar. He's considered one of the top fighters in UFC, and supposedly, you know, from what I heard, he's the one that brings in the most income to the UFC, and he's pretty much the most famous, generating the most money, and people consider to be the best of the best within the UFC. And, you know, just knowing that information, listen to him talk. But this was just, you know, immediately after the fight. He was talking in the ring, and then he ended up talking in the post-fight, sitting down in the chair. I mean, of course, you know, he just got done, had his head just bashed in, like, you know, hundreds of times. You know, he wasn't speaking with too much intelligence. I don't know if it's just because of that fight, or probably accumulation of all the fights that he's been in, but you notice it from time to time again, no matter what fighter you're talking about. No matter if it's Mike Tyson or Evander Holyfield or Joe Frazier or whatever fighter you're talking about, when they're speaking, there's really not much intelligence there. It's just you know, but with him, it's a little bit different. Even though there's not that much intelligence there, due to like lost brain cells, it seems as if he's more of a humble person. You know, and, you know, he was giving credit to the other person a lot, the other fighter, and he was just basically, you know, admitting a lot of things of like giving credit, and basically saying, you know, it was the hardest fight of my career, and, you know, how the person did so well, and how he lost his memory and consciousness. He didn't have to admit any of that, but he admitted everything, and just saying like how hard it was and how much of a damage that it had on his physical being. You know, so basically he's expressing a part of his weakness, and I think that's honorable. That's something that a quality that you would see in a martial artist, admitting that he's not just a machine and just like a piece of brick. You know, he's somebody that has emotions, has feelings, and he can get hurt and injured. And he's admitting to this. And then in the post-fight, he's talking about basically how he wanted to retire. And he even said it after the fight, he wanted to retire, or he wanted to just take some time off. You know, but there's too many hands in a cookie jar at the moment. It's not just him, but you got the Dana White, and you probably have a bunch of other people that are making money off of this guy, and they don't want to see him leave because they need to continue to make money off of him. They need to basically, like, it's like a cow. Like, they just got to keep milking the cow until the milk is all gone. And then when the milk is all gone, they have to basically wait until the cow generates more milk, so they keep milking the cow. So it's just going to be non-stop until the cow is dead. And really, it's sad that that's what they're doing to him and pretty much every single fighter that they get their hands on. As soon as they find somebody that's making money for them, they're just going to keep using that person and abusing that person until he's dead, or until he's no longer of any use, and then they just throw him to the side and they get somebody else. That's exactly what they do to prostitutes. You know, just get a fresh young girl in there, have like 5,000 men bang the hell out of her until she's just like torn apart and just like filled up with diseases and just ugly and nasty. Then they just throw her to the curb, and then they find a new prostitute to work with. That's what I see that's going on with these fighters. You know, they're just going to basically use him as much as they possibly can to make as much money off of him as possible. They don't care about his health. They don't care about him getting brain damage or him dying an early death. They just want to use him as much as possible to get as much money off of him as possible. Kick him to the side and get the next fighter in. And I see that's what's going on. And it's a very sad thing. And if the people that are watching this, if they don't see it themselves, you know, they're just simply not paying attention. And they should have some type of heart to be like, man, this is wrong. You know, this is not right. You know what I mean? Look at what's going on with this guy. You know, he wants to stop, but they're not even letting him stop. You know, it's just like, even in the cage, the rules are you can't stop fighting until they make you stop fighting. So you could literally beat somebody down and just keep beating on them. They tell you have to keep beating on it, and then you see that he's not fighting back. You're not allowed to stop. The rules are in that cage that you need to keep fighting and beating him until they make you stop. And I think that's a horrible thing. You know, it's like you as a fighter or as a martial artist, or a martial artist wouldn't even be in there to begin with, but you as a fighter may feel like, you know what, this is going too far. I don't want to hurt him too much. But then they're like, and then you want to stop, but then they're like, no, you have to keep fighting. We're going to make you keep fighting. It's like they have the gun pointed in your head that you got to keep fighting, otherwise they're going to pull this trigger. And that's pretty much what's going on here. I mean, they're strong-arming him to be like, you know what, it's not up to you whether or not you're fighting. It's up to us. If you don't fight, we're going to kill you. And we're going to make your life a living nightmare. And it's not just with this guy, but I saw an interview with Dana White talking about Anderson Silva. And Anderson Silva is probably the next most popular fighter after GSP. And I heard that Anderson Silva recently lost as well. Or recently lost. And basically he didn't want to fight anymore. He didn't want to rematch nothing. But then Dana White mentioned that he talked to him and then basically got him to fight again. And then Dana White even admitted that, hey, you know, the guy at the interview asked him, what if Anderson Silva said, no, I don't want to fight again? Or what if he would have said that? Dana White would have said that's unacceptable. He has to fight again. So basically, these people are not even being allowed to make their own decisions. It's like a prostitute that doesn't want to work anymore, but then the pimp is like, no, you're gonna work. And if you don't work, I'm gonna kill you. Or I'm gonna beat you to death. That's pretty much what's going on right now. You know, you see it with the GSP, you see it with the Anderson Silva. And I saw another interview not too long ago. They were interviewing Ken Shamrock, and they were interviewing the Tito Ortiz, and they were both talking shit about Dana White, saying that they just basically just used them, and they don't give a he doesn't give a shit about them. He's not even paying out the money that they deserve, and that basically they're talking shit, saying that the Dana White guy wouldn't be nothing without the fighters, wouldn't be nothing without them, and all this stuff. So you see all this stuff going on, where this Dana White guy is just basically profiting off of all these fighters and prostituting all these fighters, and these fighters are they're putting their lives in great jeopardy and great risk, and they're not even allowed to make their own decisions. They can't even step out of it when they want to. They're being forced to continue to do something that they don't want to do anymore. And you see, when you see all this, I mean, how could you possibly tell me that this is good for the society? And how can you even possibly tell me that this is representing real martial arts? You know, I mean, one of the biggest factors that why something like this would even be justified by law is because they're saying that, oh, you know, these people, these fighters are making their own decisions. They consciously, willfully want to engage in this type of fighting in this cage. And that's what sets it apart from the difference between dog fighting and human beings fighting, is that dogs don't have that conscious decision. They're just forced to do it. But human beings have the consciousness to be able to decide for themselves. But in this case, clearly they're not allowed to make their own decisions. They're being strong-armed and basically forced into engaging in activities that they no longer wish to engage in. And this is pretty much a sad thing that's going on. And as far as my feedback on the Hendricks guy, when I saw the interviews with him, I saw maybe 2 interviews with him, I immediately lost a huge amount of respect. This guy was just a complete douchebag, talking all this shit, saying, no, I won, and you know, he ain't shit, I'll beat him next time, or I'll make sure that I'll knock him out next time. I mean, he's just a piece of shit dude, you know, and I can't believe that people are looking up to people like this. You know, he can't even give credit to GSP in any way at all. You know, he's just basically talking all this shit, saying how he's just so great and how he just beat his ass, and how he wasn't supposed to lose. And you know, these are the people that we're supposed to be looking, you know, that are supposed to be representing martial arts. It's just a complete, it's completely a disgrace. It's a complete disgrace. You know, and you know, it's just kind of like a Bruce Lee, you know, who did so much for the martial arts, and he's accomplished so much. And say he's like 50 years old, and there's somebody challenges him to a fight who's like 25 years old, tip-top shape, and then beats him up a little bit, and then starts bragging about it, and makes everybody feel that he's the next Bruce Lee and all. It's just a bunch of bullshit. You know, I just think that this is just encouraging very immature, childish behavior, that like a disrespect to the elders or the people that are truly intelligent and wise. It's like you know, beating up on your own father or killing your own father when your father was the one who gave, you know, basically the reason why you're even here is because of your father, and then you go ahead and beat him up, and then you take his life. When you were a child, when you were an infant, he could have just took your life right there, but he didn't. And he took care of you, raised you till you became strong, and then once you became strong, you go ahead and turn around and beat him up. You know, that's kind of this is kind of what the mentality that MMA and UFC is promoting, for like young arrogant bastards to beat up the elders that are older and wise and intelligent. You know, and really, all these young bastards need to be put in check. You know, and if we step into the realm of real fighting, and you're talking about weapons, or even no weapons, or firearms, it's not even about, like, really, like, elite level of, like, cardio fitness or anything like that. You know, it's just, your life could end in an instant. Just be unaware for a split second, and then your life could end. You know, and I see that all these people that are so arrogant and conceited, and they just want to go around beating everybody up, they don't deserve to learn martial arts. They should have never even been taught. But the people that has taught them has created like a killing machine. And really, it's like giving guns to the criminals when they don't deserve it. So I see that, you know, the guy that he fought, the Hendricks guy, is a piece of shit, and basically, he doesn't even deserve to train in the martial arts. You know, he's somebody where his own father should put him in check and beat the fuck out of him and put his ass in check. You know what I mean? Really, that's the type of mentality that I feel that guy had, and really, I have no respect for him whatsoever. You know what I mean? I just think it's very sad what the whole thing is just bringing out. You know, and I think that through time, people may see that this is just all a piece of shit that's going on. And these people are like, basically, the public are like idolizing criminals opposed to real martial artists. And like I said, you know, for me, based on GSP and the way that he's speaking on those few interviews that I saw, he doesn't belong in there. He doesn't belong in the MMA. I think that he's the people that that are good inside, that aren't like arrogant pricks and assholes, they don't belong in there. You know, but and he's trying to get out, and they won't even let him get out. But as I stated, I stay away from that stuff. I don't, like I said, I don't normally look up on that stuff, but because one of my Todais mentioned it, it was something that I felt was relevant to a lot of the topics that I speak on. And this is just more of a direct evidence to the people to let them see what's going on. Because you see it right before your own eyes. You know what I mean? This person's like beaten up to a bloody marshmallow, and he's clearly in a lot of pain. He admitted that he was in a lot of pain. He admitted that he couldn't even remember the fight. That's how messed up he was. He told the entire world that he wanted to quit, that he wanted to retire, hang his gloves up. That's exactly what he said. Take some time off. And you see it right before your eyes. Dana White won't even let him do that. And in that post-fight interview, Dana White wouldn't even let him answer questions. Certain questions. Dana White would be like, don't answer that. Don't answer that. Like he's pretty much the slave master, and then this GSP guy's his fucking slave, his fucking pimp. He's the prostitute. And it's sad that's what's going on, you know, and people, you can see it all before your eyes. And You know, when you see all this going on, hopefully people can just open their eyes and be like, man, that's fucked up. I don't want nothing to do with this. I don't want to be put in that position. I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to support that. I don't want to watch that. But, you know, this is just also more clear evidence to show that this clearly is not martial arts, and these are clearly not martial artists, and these are clearly not good people. You know, and you read all the comments of all the people that are talking, nobody even gives a damn about GSP's health or anything. They just want to see another fight. That's what everybody talks about. Oh, I want to see them fight again. They should fight again. That's what the announcers are talking about. Oh, they need to fight again. They need a rematch to fight again. Everybody just keeps wanting them to fight. They don't give a damn about anybody's health. They'll throw them off into the nursing home like they do Muhammad Ali. They don't give a damn. They don't care if GSP dies at the age of 40. They don't care. You know, and really, you know, say he's making a few $100,000, he's making a few $1,000,000, and say he's 32, I think he's 32 right now. Say he dies at the age of 35, or he dies at the age of 40. I mean, is it really worth it? I mean, what do you really want to buy that even has any type of value? Like, if you have a few $1,000,000, what makes all that money so important to you? Like, what do you want with it? You know, and I think that's another thing that's wrong with being a fighter, is that their mentality is all fucked up. You know, it's like the Hendricks guy was saying, oh, you know, all he cares about that belt. I don't care who's wearing that belt. I want that belt. That's all he cares about, is that belt. It's like, are you serious? Like, what the fuck? That's a fucked up mentality. That's a very fucked up mentality. It's like he's willing to just kill somebody for that belt. Doesn't care about anything else in this world but that belt. I mean, that's a fucked up mentality. And they're basically teaching the public to be fucked up mentally. The more the public engages themselves in this type of so-called entertainment, the more the public's minds are being psychologically damaged towards believing it's normal behavior and this is how we should be as a society, when it's not. You know, I mean, I clearly see fault in it, you know, but that's from my eyes. And the only reason I'm saying something about it is because I care about the martial arts, and that's why I make all these videos talking about how this is not right. But there's a lot of shit going on in this world that's not right. You know, there's corrupted police, there's racism all over the place, there's people high up on drugs and alcohol and drunk drivers and people, you know, shooting and killing each other on the streets. You know, I can't stop all violence, but I'm just speaking about this in particular because the martial arts does mean a lot to me, and I feel that it's being, you know, the martial arts as a whole is being severely abused. Just like these fighters are being abused by the pimp. And I just want to put my effort into trying to get people to open their eyes to see all the stuff that's going on.